Before Luka Doncic ever played an NBA game, he was already holding the biggest trophy in Europe. EuroLeague champion, EuroLeague MVP, Final Four MVP. A teenager winning the biggest games in Europe against grown men. Then he got to the NBA and somehow the game still looked too slow for him.
I'm not sure he's going to be a dominating NBA player.
I don't give a damn about how this kid in Europe.
That's why Luka's story feels different. Not because people are still trying to figure out if he's great, because the greatness showed up so fast that the pressure did too. Before Luka Doncic ever played an NBA game, he was already ahead of schedule.
My basketball journey has been a lot of fun. I've always had a ball in my hand.
That's where this story starts. Not in Dallas, not at the draft, not with the step backs and triple doubles and playoff daggers. In Europe. Because Luka didn't come into the NBA as a mystery. He came in with proof. By 2018, he had already helped Real Madrid win the EuroLeague title.
Really hard to get here. The whole season, I always say, I think this was one of the best seasons in EuroLeague. Anything could beat you, so...
He'd already won EuroLeague MVP. He had already won Final Four MVP. And he was still a teenager. That matters, because those aren't youth-level awards. That's grown men basketball. Championship basketball. Pressure basketball. The confetti falling, the trophy in his hands, veterans around him, cameras everywhere. That was the first real image of Luka. Not a prospect, a winner.
Very special for me, and I'm so glad to have these teammates, to have these coaches.
That's what made him different from the start. Most young stars come in with tools. Luka came in with command. Then came draft night in 2018. He was taken third overall by Atlanta.
With the third pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Luka Doncic.
Then immediately traded to Dallas. That moment matters because it changed everything. Dallas didn't just get a promising young player. Dallas got a franchise answer. And once Luka put on that Mavericks jersey, you could see right away why they believed it. Not just the numbers. The way he moved. The pace, the footwork, the patience, the body control. The way he could slow a possession down without ever losing control of it. That was the strange thing about Luka. He didn't look fast. He looked like he was already a step ahead. A defender could be in front of him, balanced, ready. Then Luka would hesitate, lean, bump, change angles, and somehow get exactly the shot he wanted anyway.
The full speed to the decel, how much are you practicing that? When did you develop that?
I didn't practice that. I just call it the slow step, but I never really practiced that one.
A layup off glass, a soft floater, a pass to the corner right before the help got there. A step back three with just enough room to feel cruel. That's a different kind of power. He wasn't blowing people away with speed. He was breaking them down with timing. That's why the rise happened so fast. He won Rookie of the Year in 2019, and even that almost felt too small for what people were already seeing.
And 2019 Kia NBA Rookie of the Year is...
Luka Doncic.
Because it didn't feel like, here comes a good young player. It felt like Dallas may have found one of the next great offensive players in the sport. Then, by year two, the numbers exploded. 28.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, 8.8 assists. That's not normal growth. That's a star arriving almost immediately. And the proof was everywhere. Luka walking the ball up, big defender switched onto him, crowd getting louder. One slow dribble, one shoulder fake, one step back, splash. That became the image. The game moving at his speed because he wanted it to. And once a player starts doing that early, the pressure gets heavier. Because now the story is no longer how good can he be, now it becomes how soon is this supposed to turn into titles? That is the Luka burden. Because the greatness came early enough that the expectations came with it. Dallas handed him the ball, handed him the offense, handed him the identity of the franchise. And to his credit, he looked built for that part. That's what made the rise feel so serious. He didn't look overwhelmed by control. He looked like he wanted more of it. Then came the bubble. August 23rd, 2020. First round series against the Clippers. Game 4. Porzingis out. Luka on a bad ankle. Dallas needed him just to survive. Instead, he gave them one of the defining games of his young career. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. Then, in overtime, he gets the switch, rocks Reggie Jackson back, steps left, and buries the game winner.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
That moment matters because you can see it. The white jersey, the step side, the release, the bench exploding. Luka yelling as teammates mob him. That wasn't just a young player having a big playoff night. That was a star showing the stage didn't scare him. And once a player does that early, the pressure grows again. Because now people stop asking whether he belongs in big moments. Now they start asking how soon the big moments turn into real runs. Then came Phoenix in 2022. That series is one of the clearest Luka images there is. The Suns had won 64 games. They had Chris Paul. They had Devin Booker. They had home court. They were supposed to be the more complete team. And by Game 7, none of that mattered. Because Luka walked into Phoenix and made the whole thing feel cold. At halftime, Luka had 27 points. The Suns had 27 points.
27-point lead, down goes Johnson, bullseye! Oh no, they're shredding him!
That image alone tells you how bad it got. That's not just scoring. That's control. That's humiliation. That's a star making another contender look like it was breaking apart in real time. And the plays matched it. Luka hunting switches, backing defenders down, talking, smiling, hitting step backs, throwing skip passes when the defense finally panicked. That's why Luka gets judged the way he does now. When you do things like that early, people stop giving you young player grace. Now they start expecting conference finals. Now they start expecting MVP level seasons. Now they start expecting championships.
I want to win a championship here, so it's our goal. Every season is the same goal.
That's the burden. Because Luka has already shown enough to make people believe he can be one of the defining players of his era. And once the belief gets that high, every season without the biggest ending starts feeling louder than it should. Then came 2024. Dallas didn't just make a run, Dallas made the finals. And on the way there, Luka gave people even more proof. In the Western Conference Finals against Minnesota, he averaged over 32 points a game. In Game 2, he put up a 32-point triple-double and hit the go-ahead 3 in the final seconds. In Game 5, he came out and dropped 20 in the first quarter on the road and basically took control of the series before Minnesota could settle in. Then, Dallas won the West. And there was Luka standing there with the Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP trophy in his hands.
And the MVP of the Western Conference Finals is, I'm not going to tell you, but he's from Slovenia, Luka Doncic.
That image matters. The crowd, the trophy, the finals stage waiting. Because now the story changed again. Now the question was no longer whether Luka could carry a team deep. He already had. Now the pressure got even heavier. Because once you've made the finals, people stop asking whether you can get there. Because now they ask when you're going back, when you're winning it, when the brilliance turns into banners. That is what happens when greatness arrives early. The game gives you the spotlight. then it gives you the blame too. And Luka has been living inside that for years. That's why his story is so compelling, because the talent isn't theoretical. It's proven. Europe proved it. Rookie of the Year proved it. The bubble proved it. Phoenix proved it. The West Finals proved it. The finals run proved it. The evidence keeps piling up. That's why Luka doesn't feel like a player people are still evaluating. He feels like a player people are waiting on. Waiting for the championship version. Waiting for the season where all the step backs, all the impossible passes, all the control, and all the pressure finally land in June.
He's a born winner, so, you know, no, I'm not kidding. Mark my words, he's gonna be one of the best in the whole world.
That's the tension. Not whether he's great. Everybody knows that now. The tension is what people will say if greatness this obvious doesn't end where they think it should. That's a lot to carry, and he's had to carry it early, which is why Luka's story isn't just about talent. It's about what happens when a player becomes too obviously important too quickly. The league sees him, the numbers prove him, the playoff moments announce him. And once that happens, there's no going back to being treated like a young player figuring it out. Now the word attached to everything is expectation. That's the shadow following Luka now. Because once people see a player this good, they stop asking whether he belongs. They start asking when he takes over everything. And maybe that's why his story still feels so charged. Because with Luka, nobody is waiting for proof of brilliance anymore. They're waiting to see what brilliance becomes when the pressure gets heavy enough to shape the whole career. Luka Doncic didn't spend years proving he belonged. He showed up already looking like one of the best players in the room. That's what made greatness come fast. And that's what made the pressure arrive just as fast. If you want more basketball stories about greatness, pressure, and the stars the league starts judging too early, subscribe to Hardwood Untold.